Yo.
And then Firestorm says, "Hey, come on, high asses, we gotta go live."
And then
We're
I just
burning
kept
daylight here,
smoking.
gentlemen. We gotta get going.
He yelled a little bit, and it hurt. It hurt our feelings, but we're okay.
We need a stoner podcast. We just put Brian on here instead of Firestorm. And
Oh,
then
God.
start going.
Call it the backstage.
You guys just get absolutely cooked, and then talk about. Honestly, you should do a second episode later in the week of the extra point, but just get
the after
obliterated.
hours.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're just gonna end up talking about sports anyways, but just super high.
Just get even higher than you are now.
How's
and
this
just
differ
go-
for me
go
in
ham.
any way, shape, or form?
The extra point after hours. Minus Ray.
The THF extra puff.
The extra dad.
No. Forget what I just said. The THF extra joint.
Yeah, extra joint.
I like Puff actually better just because it rhyme. I mean, it's kind of fitting. We're extra point, extra puff. I don't know.
See, I would wait. You get it to like the 38, 39 minute mark, and you guys are just like,
Yeah,
I don't know, man. You want Wakko? You want me to do another podcast?
What are we
Yes,
talking
football's
about
so
again?
crazy, bro. The Bears won. What the hell?
did you
bro?
guys watch football this week?
A little bit.
It was
Yeah.
crazy. Anyway, we definitely watched football this week. What a week it was.
Yeah, so
Yeah, it was crazy.
I would start the conversation on what Jason was saying to talk about MVP conversation. I agree with pretty much what Brian was saying in the Discord. I think it's pretty safe to say Lamar's probably going to win MVP after that 49ers game and how he's been playing this year. Fantasy-wise, I mean, garbage for the most part, but stat-wise, he's been showing up, and he's on top of everyone's radar. People, obviously, I'm not going to go as much for Dak, in my opinion, I don't think, just because we've been losing. So, obviously, it's not by player stats. I feel like it's always based on team stats, too, in the background. People want, like, a winner. So I think it's probably going to be him.
I have a question. As Cowboys fans, how does it feel to have the bar set so high and fail every year?
Ugh.
Or
I've been
compared
asking
to
this
me-
question for 3
compared to me-
episodes.
listen. This is compared to me, who is a Titans fan, where the bar is set very low, but I am also disappointed.
Look, so
What the difference is, like, you guys have high expectations every year. I don't. So, like, when we lose, it's like, all right.
the quick answer is it sucks. But the longer, more detailed answer is that it's too early to have that conversation, because it's like the sky's falling in Dallas. Dude, they just now lost 2 games in a row.
I'm not talking
You know?
this season specifically. I mean, if you look like the broader, as a Cowboys fan, not specific to this season.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though. But
Okay.
that's why I'm saying I got to separate it, because if you're talking about, like, in general, it's like, yeah, it sucks. It sucks for the bar to be set this high all the time, and then it just not work out for whatever reason. I think I talked about it in the Discord early today. It's like, the difference is, like, it's we have all these expectations, and we are the most valuable sports franchise in the world, so we got all the eyeballs on us, and it's like,
You're the
we're
Yankees of the
we're
NFL.
we're starting to be the punching bag of the NFL. Just the Yankees is a great
That's exactly how
example.
it is. Take
The
7
Patriots,
in the
we're
Discord,
starting to
for
get
example.
to that because
Right,
of,
everybody
because of
hates
how
the fucking Yankees. Everybody
Yeah.
hates the Yankees.
yeah.
Well,
so
it's
it's
going to be
like
like that because we're the most popular team, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I agree. I think the Yankees, in terms of baseball fandoms, I think the Yankees are the equivalent to the Cowboys. They're extremely loud and they're relatively nationwide. And they had a dynasty, all through the 1900s. They were they still are the winningest team in terms of World Series. But you move to this century and they haven't won. When was their last one? Was it? Have they even won one in the 2000s? I don't know off
but
the top
it
of my
was
head.
I
I think it was 02 or 03. It was before the Red
was
Sox.
an early one. It was before the Red Sox won theirs.
but they were still great all the way. It kind of feels like to me that they kind of fell off when the Rangers beat them to go into the World Series. Like it seemed like that was when they're they hadn't been that great since.
I mean, the Yankees haven't been their expectations for the AL East, for example. Uh, the AL East and the AFC East are all they're both very similar. They're both, top 10 markets in like they have top 10 market teams, and they're supposed to be the winningest teams. And it never really works out that way.
Yeah, it sucks.
There are obviously they're completely different sports and completely different leagues, but there are a lot of similarities. But to kind of get us back on track, using the Yankees as a good example, because they're a very loud, they're a relatively nationwide franchise. I think when everyone thinks baseball nowadays is kind of switching to the Dodgers, but
Yeah.
for decades now, as long as baseball's been baseball, you hear the word baseball and you think New York Yankees.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think it's the same for the Cowboys nowadays, where you say football and you think Cowboys. I think they're still in the top of the list, but again, they're both teams that have extremely high expectations, very very loud, very vocal fan bases, and are not having the success they used to have. Unfortunately, I
Yeah.
worry that my Patriots are becoming the same way. No success in the last 5 seasons. I'm hoping it doesn't take 20 plus like it has with the Cowboys.
Yeah, but it's inevitable that eventually your franchise, like,
Never.
yeah,
Right.
you go through down spurts. You got
So
to.
this-
That's why I'm going back to that point. That's why I'm rooting against Love in Green Bay, because I'm like, there's no way they can be this good this long. Like that's why I'm rooting for Detroit and Minnesota, like, because Green Bay can't have all up there in that.
Green Bay
division.
wasn't a dynasty though, and
But they
to
have
say
been
Jordan
in
Love
that
is going
division.
to say Jordan Love is going to be a Hall of Famer is a bit much. I mean, we haven't really seen
I
a
wouldn't say
lot
it's
of
a
him yet.
dynasty either, because
He's definitely good in terms of rookies.
Yeah, they don't have the Super Bowls, but that's why I was saying within the division.
But it's like it's you
like,
think NFL tradition,
you always
like,
think
you think of the Packers, like the Packers are like the Bears and the Cowboys, like those kind of teams. Like,
sure.
so there's that standard they're held up to. Like, this is the Packers, this is Lambeau, this is the trophy's named after one of your head coaches. Like,
so talking about high expectations.
Yeah.
I think it's a really good point, and so Boston. Everybody knows I'm a devout Boston fan. I've been, but the reason being is I've grown, much like you gentlemen grew up in the dynasty of the Cowboys, and the Dallas Fort Worth teams are having more success than they've had in a while. Boston, in at least in the 2000s, has been the city of champions, with the Red Sox and the Patriots winning so many championships, and then the Celtics and the Bruins being in the mix, with a pair or one or two championships, or at least winning divisions and things like that. It's kind of set a standard and a precedent. It's not that we as fans are entitled. It's that we maintain a standard, and it's a standard that was set in Dallas, and they're trying to get back to, where it's a very vocal market. It's a very successful, very very high value. And the fans, because of so many championships, are extremely loud about it and voice disdain with their teams, or they or on the other side of that coin, voice pride with their teams. So there are a lot of similarities to both. The difference is who wins more, and unfortunately, the New England hasn't been winning as much as we were before, and the Cowboys haven't in a while. So I'm hoping my teams get back to that standard, but it's kind of I think it's kind of make or break for Dallas, at least the Cowboys this season. We keep talking about having Dak in the MVP discussion. That's all well and good, but unfortunately, championships are more important. Look at Rodgers; he's won MVP many times. He only has one Super Bowl, so does it really matter?
I'll tell you one thing though that helps in this market is, and you know this too because of what we're talking about. A little bit of pressure came out of that pressure cooker in fandom here in the Dallas Fort Worth with the Rangers winning their first ever World Series. Like that, I feel like the Cowboys almost got a little bit of pressure lifted off of them because of that happening. I mean, that's a neighbor here in this market. They're right next door to each other, and both teams are like, when is it? They're both teams are like, is it ever going to happen? Type of situation where they've
I
been
get
so
that.
good.
Yeah, I get.
It's
I don't
so.
really
It's the
see
same
it that.
thing
I
in
don't really see it that
Cleveland.
way because
I'm just talking about here locally. So like,
yeah,
you
but
wouldn't see it from the outside.
at least on the
looking in.
national level, the Rangers,
Yeah, I'm
they
saying
can be
locally,
competitive,
though.
and during the season they went on that super good run, but they're not really a team that's a favorite to win the World Series.
Oh, they never
Obviously they
will
were the
be. They're
best,
not the Rangers aren't a big market team.
right?
I'm just
The
talking
difference
about
is the
because of the
Cowboys. The
Cowboys.
Cowboys are they're
This
favorite
is
every season. They're in the top. They're in the top 5 to win the Super Bowl every season. It's always in the mix with the Bills and the Chiefs, and then now the Niners and
The
the
Browns.
Cowboys and the Eagles. They're the top. They're the top teams to win, and the Cowboys have not gone over the hump and got that success.
I don't know,
So
man. I definitely feel like there's been several years that we were not the favorite to win the division or even make it to the playoffs.
I'm not
Like
saying
I
the top
mean,
favorite, but a favorite
we had
in
so
terms
many
of the
eight
odds.
and eight years back in. We had like six. No, we had 5 straight seasons where we were 8 and 8. Like there's definitely spots in the Jason Garrett era specifically where the Cowboys were not favored to win.
But they are now, and they have been in the last few seasons. In the Dak era, at least,
Yeah, sure. I mean,
they
yeah, probably
they
more so in the Dak era consistently. I'm just saying, like,
it's the
I don't
same with the
know.
Buffalo Bills. In the Josh since Josh Allen's been on the team, they're expected to win, and they haven't. And season by season, it's expected to be Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, and obviously they're on a absolute. They're down the tank right now.
Same
But
record as the Browns.
I think it's just because the Cowboys are the always such a prevalent topic on national media. You guys outside of the area get the impression that we're always the favorite to win. No, they talk about us all the time because we are the biggest fan base, the most valuable franchise in the world. That it's not because they're always favorited to win. It's just ratings. Even when we suck, and we know locally we suck, you know, and we're still talked about. So I think it's yeah, it's not. I don't know. It's not fair to say that we're always expected to win.
But in the past few seasons, at least in the Dak era, you guys are a playoff team, and the Cowboys they have they have a good to excellent regular season. Like this season, other than being on the road, they're a dominant force, and the expectation is to win. And you guys have said it yourselves. The Jerry Jones says we want to win the Super Bowl. That's the expectation every season.
Yeah.
So again, the 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 expectation is to win, and it just hasn't come to fruition yet.
Yeah. And it
And
sucks.
to get back on track with the MVP talk, because we've gone off in 2 different directions already. It's an interesting discussion in the Discord, and I'll be honest, I didn't really catch up on it until just a few minutes ago.
It's
The odds-on favorite is Lamar Jackson. It's not only are the Ravens the favorite in the AFC, but it was kind of sneaky. The Ravens have been winning all season, and they haven't really the discussion hasn't been on the Ravens until the past few weeks. But Lamar is in his prime right now. Um, and he's getting the job done. He's dominating. I think the reason CMC is still in the discussion is because this is the first season in a while where he's actually not injured. So he's putting up good numbers.
Yeah, and everyone in the
but-
Ravens have stayed pretty decently healthy too. Mark
and they're
Andrews
hardly
got injured for a little bit, but you know,
The Ravens are grinders too. They're not winning in sexy ways, and that hurts. It
and the games they've lost have been close. The Ravens are one of the few teams that have not been blown out all season.
Yeah, I'd have to go.
There's
back
only a
and
handful of teams that
fact-check
haven't absolutely been smoked, and I think the Ravens, every game they've lost has been within one score.
Yeah, they've all been close games.
Some
that
of
I
which
can
by a
remember
field
for
goal.
sure.
I think they lost to the Browns, and they lost to someone else by a field goal.
We got
both
CMC
those
as the
games a
MVP.
walk-off field goal.
Lamar might steal it.
I mean,
How close is CMC to Lamar for the MVP? And you guys, in your eyes,
He's up there.
like
He's
second
up
or
there.
third place, maybe.
Yep, I agree.
but
definitely top three.
I think he's second. I
would say so.
Well,
If you guys saw my rankings in the Discord, I have Lamar 1, CMC 2, and I got them both really high. In fact, I've got them both, in my eyes, higher than anybody else. Like, I think it's them too.
Yeah, it's those two.
And it's hard to see. It is very hard to see CMC as MVP candidate because it's so rare that a running back is the guy. You know,
It's usually a quarterback.
right.
Yeah.
It's historically a quarterback award,
That's bullshit too.
especially
Defensive players
recently.
get the shaft, man.
I actually said this a couple weeks ago or a month or so ago about running backs getting into the MVP conversation and how rare it is that they win. I want to say that there's only been like 2 in like the last 20 years. Like,
yeah, well, they both.
I don't know if
been
it's that rare,
extremely,
but it's close.
they've both been extremely consistent all year long, and you know, they both played phenomenally. So I think both of them could deserve it. I wouldn't be mad if one earned it over the other, but with him being quarterback, I think he's most likely to get it, and with him just, you know, going over there and stomping the 49ers especially. So I think that's the main thing that kind of held people back from them, because they were kind of still seeing the old Lamar and them kind of failing in the playoffs and all the injuries and stuff like that last year especially, and this year at the beginning with the running backs. But now you have a team that's together and that's winning against what most people would consider, in my opinion, the best team in the league beforehand. And they went out there and won, and not just won by a little bit. Like, they for sure won that game.
So, I just pulled up the list.
Of us three who picked them and Pick'ems, by the way.
So I just pulled up the list
Yeah, you did.
of NFL MVPs since 2000. So it has it listed. So it's actually been, so it's mostly quarterbacks like we suspected. If it's not a quarterback, every MVP since 2000 has been a running back.
Yeah, that's it.
There's
nobody else wins it.
The two lists, the two positions on this list since 2000 are running back and quarterback. So it's not out of the ordinary for. I mean, it's way more often that the quarterback wins it, but to say you know, he's not going to win as a running back because it doesn't usually happen. That's kind of not the case. Where, you know,
Well,
it doesn't happen recently.
Usually happen, but
it doesn't usually happen. But when it's somebody other than a quarterback, it's a running back lately.
Right, which is even
Wasn't Aaron
less
Donald the last one?
even more.
The last one
less
is
likely that Hill will
2012 Adrian
get it.
Peterson from the Vikings, running back, and then since then it's been Manning, Rodgers, Cam Newton, Matt Ryan, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes.
You know, it's this is kind of off note, but it seems really hard to predict this season, because I feel like every time you see a good team, you also see them fail extremely hard. And then when you feel like you have a team down to be bad, like the Raiders, and they come out and win some games, and you're just like, what the hell? They have a backup quarterback. They're not supposed to win. They're not supposed to be good. And you see people succeeding that aren't supposed to. It's interesting, but when it comes to the playoffs, I'm kind of excited for it, because I feel like any team can win, really, like anybody. It could be anyone.
I'm gonna say it here now. It's Browns Cowboys Super Bowl.
That would be
Browns,
crazy.
Cowboys,
I feel like our predictions keep
Super
changing,
Bowl.
but there's no shot.
I don't want to admit that the Chargers were my team at the beginning of the season because that was not the case. Browns, Cowboys.
I had Cowboys and Bengals from the start, but I don't think
really
that's
feel
happening.
like
I switched to Eagles and Ravens. I think it's gonna be a Birds. There may have been a Niners pick in there, but I think the Eagles figure it out. Obviously, they're not going to get the 1 seed, but
Oh, so you're sticking with the Eagles?
I'm not 100% sold. I think Purdy's gonna fall apart. Look at this last game, the awful game. I really think the Eagles figure it out.
If Purdy falls apart, then that's just more hope for Cowboys.
Yeah.
Or
Another thing
because-
to point out.
The NFC.
I do not think Brock Purdy is the MVP. I don't think he should be a candidate.
Not anymore, definitely
If there's
not.
anybody from the 49ers, it's CMC.
It's CMC.
Right,
hands
which
down.
I thought it was going to be anyway, but
That would be my vote.
I don't think it should be him. And for the record, I don't think it should be Dak either. I really think it's between Lamar and CMC.
I don't think it. I'm not on the Dak train for MVP at this point. So I hope you didn't think I was.
No. I'm just saying that because he's still in the conversation.
He's definitely is, and I don't think the next two opponents will do what Dak would need to get up back on the top of that list.
He should be up there as much as Tua should be up there, in my opinion.
I don't think Tua should be there either.
Exactly, they are no different in my.
I think Purdy, Tua, and Dak are all in the same boat, where they are benefiting heavily from their all-pro talent around them.
Yeah, it's not to say they aren't balling, but it's just
they're cooking. They're having an excellent season, but I don't think that's the success of the quarterback. Where the difference is, you look at the Ravens. Lamar Jackson is a weapon in himself. He's just a filthy running back who can throw the football still. But other than Mark Andrews, who's out, and Zay Flowers occasionally, and OBJ occasionally, he doesn't have that all-pro talent. And not to say OBJ is an all-pro, but he's kind of making do, and it's a different running back every week. It seems they can't keep running backs healthy
at this point.
He really is the difference maker on that team, and that's the difference. I'm not saying Brock Purdy is a system quarterback. I think he is a good player, but he's not the difference maker on the team.
CMC is on the 49ers.
CMC is, and then you have Debo, and you have Ayuk, and you have Kittle. Like he has all these weapons. It's the same with the Dolphins. You have Tua is throwing to two of the best wide receivers in the league. So
Purdy is Brady incarnate, not in terms of he's going to be that great, but in terms of situation and is he a system quarterback or not? Tom Brady had those questions going up the entire time too.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I don't know.
I think Tom Brady
it's a
proved
very
that it
similar
wasn't.
situation.
Yeah.
The NFL
People talk about
they
talk about Mac Jones, who obviously is probably not going to be on the Patriots next year because Bailey Zappi's taken over.
Fan too.
But people say, if Mac Jones was actually drafted by Shanahan, which that was all the rumor was that he was supposed to be drafted by the Niners, he would be Brock Purdy right now. We'd be talking about Mac Jones as a potential MVP candidate. And I kind of disagree because I think Purdy makes better decisions and he can keep his eyes downfield better, for example.
Not this week.
Not this week, obviously, but
4 interceptions. I mean,
I don't. But the sample size, I think he's made better. Decisions. That could be because he has better weapons around him. But I don't think if you plugged Mac Jones in, or if you put another pocket passer in, that he'd be having the same success. At the same time, I don't think that he's the difference maker on the team, and a lot of people are kind of getting the two mixed up and thinking that they have to be mutually exclusive when in reality they can exist in themselves. He's not a system quarterback, but he's not the difference maker on that team. He's competent. He's getting the job done.
Could be.
And it's a very successful job. But again, I don't think he should be on the.
Only time will tell. You need years in the saddle before you can actually tell whether they're a product of the system or they're elevating the system. And I think that's a big reason why Dak has been in the conversation, because even though the Cowboys weren't on track to do any better than the last two seasons, because they went 12-5, 12-5, you know, they're not projected to do any better than that. But Dak seemed to have elevated the offense this week, or I mean this year, and that's why he was in the MVP conversation. Because even though there was all these stars around them, they were the same stars that have been here the last 2 years. And
He's turning the ball over less.
yeah, he's having the best season of his career.
Right, and that, so to that point, and this is not a hater take. All right, let me give the disclaimer that I'm not being a hater. I obviously don't think Dak's the answer, but Dak Prescott is having a career year. He's having his best season ever of his entire career. It's marginally better than Patrick Mahomes this season, who is having probably his worst. It's especially more so this, in the past few weeks. But Patrick Mahomes is on probably his worst, other than his rookie season, he's probably on his worst season as a starter, and Dak is doing a little better than him. I mean, there is a noticeable difference, but it's putting him in the discussion because he's having his best season, and then comparing him to Patrick Mahomes, for example, who's having a down year. The difference between Dak this season and Dak the last few seasons, he's still putting up numbers, but he's turning the ball over less. So the numbers get inflated even higher. The numbers go even further than they have in the past because he was turning it over so much.
That game really could be a Super Bowl preview. It's not super unlikely that we see 49ers and Ravens with how both teams been playing. But, if that's how that game looks, then, I mean, Purdy's going to have to be able to step up in the playoffs because...
That's why I don't think it's the Niners.
Yeah, because,
Cowboys, Browns, baby.
Because the Niners already beat the Cowboys, and, of course, I believe the Cowboys could beat them again. But it's that's what I was talking about earlier with the teams this season. It's like every time you think a team is something, it turns out not to be, and vice versa. And the Browns, honestly, I love Joe Flacco on the Browns. Joe Flacco is awesome. Story. Browns just look really good with him. Cooper had his best game in the past years that I've seen him play. That was an insane game for Cooper. Oh my gosh. This is how I felt about the Browns last year.
He helped Brian put up 100 points over me.
Yeah,
dude, I got bit by Amari Cooper in my big money league. So,
my big money league.
Absolute
massacre. I mean, I was playing to lose anyway. But, oh my god!
Because I made it. Go ahead.
I made it to the final in that league, so I am guaranteed at least a couple hundred. Anyways, the guy that also made it to the finals, he got there because Amari Cooper gave him 62 fantasy points.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It is unbelievable.
Just a monster freaking stat line from a guy you're not expecting to be capable of it.
Not anymore.
Not anymore, right? It's not like he hadn't done that shit before.
But this is what I've been saying about the Browns for so long, is that their offense is really good, especially when they had Nick Chubb too, and Amari Cooper as well. He should definitely be a wide receiver one. They didn't have the quarterback to put it up. Last year he finished top 10 in wide receiver, and he went under everyone's radar, and that was with a quarterback that was okay. And now look at him with a quarterback that's giving him the ball, that's giving him the targets, that's chunking it.
Watson.
So now
and I will say this too, think about this too. Justin Jefferson with a backup, that shit isn't happening. So it's even more. You don't expect games like that from a washed out guy that's playing with a backup quarterback.
So from somebody in the general Cleveland area, to have Joe Flacco be the guy is so fucking ironic, because his entire career with the Ravens was beating the Browns. So just as a local story, people are like, "Oh man, this is great!" You know,
dude.
this is a cool story. So I'm definitely rooting for Flacco and the Browns.
And the Browns defense is insane too. So like Browns defense plus a moving Browns offense with Joe Flacco. I don't know, man. I think they're a real contender for the playoffs. I think they're an actual legit contender.
They're the 5 seed right now.
So they're gonna put some work in for whoever goes against them.
Look,
Their
quiet
defense is fucking
teams
great.
that were great defensive teams have snuck up and won Super Bowls.
That's Cleveland, they have a number 1 defense. Jim Schwartz is a phenomenal defensive coordinator.
I feel like that's back in the day, low key. Why the Ravens won theirs back in the day? They were just,
hell yeah, and the Steelers in what, 08?
They weren't like, they were the underdog in everything and still just dominating people.
Yeah,
it's like people just get attached to those high flying offenses. They underestimate the defense, even though everybody says it. It's a cliche. Defense wins championships, and everybody still sleeps on the defenses.
Yeah, didn't the Browns beat the 49ers already this season? Didn't that already happen?
Yeah, the Browns have beat both the Ravens and 49ers.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that, bro. Could you imagine a freaking Cowboys and Browns Super Bowl? That shit would be old school.
It would be great. It would be a fantastic matchup. Browns defense.
It would be like
Lamb and Dak.
It would be like the Rams Patriots. It would be like 12-7.
It'd be a great game.
Two amazing defenses going off at each other. All the hype around Dak actually making it to the Super Bowl in the first fucking place, and then you have
what?
the Browns.
Okay, so what?
Oh,
Okay,
dude, that's in the script, bro.
We're in a hypothetical.
We're going down some rabbit holes here. We're losing control.
Hypothetical, real quick here. Browns Cowboys.
Think about that shit. It would be crazy.
Exactly. Browns Cowboys Super Bowl. Close game. Browns win. What do people think of Dak when he gets to the Super Bowl and loses to the Cleveland Browns?
Who hurt you, dude? Why do you hate Dak so bad?
I don't.
Why would you wish that on him?
I'm not a Cowboys hater. I like the Cowboys as much as I care about them.
So bad. Ouch.
The cope would be it was a successful year because they made it to the Super Bowl and then they lost to the number 1 defense. But
no, I'm not
that would probably be the cope.
I don't think either of these teams are making it there in the first place this season at least. But yeah, that would be that.
Browns all the way.
Can we pull up Pick'ems because I want to talk about another up and coming sleeper team.
All right, Pick'ems.
7. No one wants to see the Bills in the Super Bowl, bro.
Yeah, the Bills are not making the Super Bowl.
No one wants to see the Super Bowl, bro.
Hang on. I got it. Pick'ems.
The Bills aren't even going to win the East. Never mind. Get to the Super Bowl.
Ooh.
Who?
The Bills, Buffalo.
All right. Here's Week 16 in the NFL as we see it in the THF community. What you got?
All right. So
I picked the Raiders to win.
I picked the Ravens.
You were the only one. Only
one that picked the Raiders.
And I
Did you?
It paid off. It paid off. I want to point out that there's a sleeper team that nobody really seems to be talking about, and they're having excellent, incredible success, especially in the last few games. Tampa Bay.
I called it.
Hell yeah.
Watch out for them. Baker is locked in. All right,
so
I am a Baker stan.
So
I
Baker Mayfield.
have been Team Baker since he was drafted, and I'm a firm believer that the Cleveland Browns absolutely ruined Baker Mayfield.
Exactly.
And they did him such a disservice because he is an excellent quarterback. And I know they had a rocky start. The Tampa Bay had a rocky start this season, but they are figuring it out. He put on a clinic last week against Green Bay. He went into Lambeau and had a perfect passer rating. He's the first quarterback in I believe, NFL history to go on the road to Lambeau Field and have a perfect passer rating.
Him and Aaron Rodgers are the only people to do it.
Then this week, I know the cope is that Lawrence is jacked up right now. Doesn't matter. That's still an explosive team. They're still a favorite in the AFC. and Tampa Bay handedly beat them. It wasn't it wasn't a blowout, but it wasn't a field goal game. They handedly won the game.
Jacksonville's kind of been on the downturn a little bit in recent weeks.
They're still up there. You're right. They're
They're
trending down.
up there, but they're trending down.
They're trending down.
They're
However,
up there.
I believe Tampa Bay is trending up. And depending on how these seedings,
I agree.
Depending on how these seedings work out, if they can play a game at home, which I don't think it's going to happen based on what it is right now, but I am telling you, they are a team to watch out for in the playoffs. They might make some, they may make some waves in the early rounds. So
yeah, because I would argue that they've actually had better statement wins earlier in the season than the Jacksonville win just now.
Yeah, but they had that really rough patch where they were losing. They were basically getting, spanked by teams that they should have been beating. They
I'm
lost
just saying
a couple of divisional
the
games.
trajectory of those two teams, though, like, they've actually had better, more quality wins earlier in the season when they were even less expected to do it. I think, like they've definitely been a sleeper team.
Yeah, it could be recency bias because again they're trending upwards so well, and Baker's been putting up crazy numbers. But I'm a victim of Baker mania. I'm telling you, they are a team.
Man.
I don't really see them winning the whole thing. I don't see them getting too super far in the playoffs.
They're gonna scare some people though.
If they can continue this momentum, if they can continue this momentum, if they can get a home game, they might ruin some. They might rain on some parades. So that's my sleeper point for the segment.
That's a good one.
That
is a good one.
Most of the NFC is not that scary. I mean, there's only a hand. It's not like the AFC where like a week ago everybody had a winning record in the AFC. Like everybody was 8-7 or better.
You have the big three in the NFC, and then there's everybody else. You have San Francisco, Dallas, and Philly, and there's everybody else.
Right.
AFC, you got fucking. It's all over the place.
Although Dallas can't sleep on Detroit because Detroit's coming next week, and even though they're kind of that bubble team that seems to be trending down, like Jacksonville is, like they can't sleep on them because their home record's at stake. And they have to prove that they can't lose 3 in a row,
Yeah.
Like you can't do that going into the playoffs. Like it's one thing San Francisco did it earlier. They bounced back. Everybody thinks they're the favorite to win it all. We got Philadelphia. They were the favorite to win so much. Like earlier, they lose 3 in a row late.
I think Dallas takes this game because they're at home and the Lions already won the division. So I think the Lions are they're going to put up a fight, but I don't think they're not fighting for their lives like they normally are. So
I would argue Dallas isn't either though. They've won they were the second team to clinch a playoff spot. So
yeah.
They haven't been fighting their lives like Miami and Buffalo has. That's why they lost the last 2 games.
Cleveland was pretty much secured at the 5 spot. So
yeah, I think the division was always kind of out of reach. Like it shouldn't have been. Mathematically, it wasn't, but nobody believed they could do it, and maybe they just didn't believe they could do it. So
it's gonna be a good game either way. I do want to point out that picking against Dallas, which I actually don't do very often, if you look back at my pick'ems, that really saved me this week and give me the win. I also want to shout out my friend Gabby, who not only picked the Eagles to win Monday night, but she also got the exact points total. And if she had picked one more game better, she would have beat us all.
Yeah,
first time participant.
Yep. Yeah, I called that out too because I said if in the Discord I was having a conversation. I said if Dallas had won that game, I would have gotten second to Gabby, and I mentioned her, like I'd have been because got the same exact score. Pretty incredible.
The total is more impressive to me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was like that to guess the exact score is pretty awesome.
I have a underrated team that you can watch out for. The Rams. The Rams with Kyron Williams back cook, and Matthew Stafford can cook.
And Cup keeps making some impacts.
Yeah, because I feel like before their main issue was the run game because they could do it in the past, but every now and then they would miss it, and then they would run the ball and they wouldn't get it. And Kyron Williams fits right into that puzzle piece that they need. He's a great runner and he's a great catcher. So it's kind of exactly what Matthew Stafford needs because they've been cooking the past games that he's been in. So I would watch out for the Rams, to be honest. If they can make it into the playoffs, then I think they'll actually be a contender.
You guys know my sleepers, Cleveland Browns. So surprise.
I don't even think they're a
Surprise.
sleeper. I think they're just like right out there to me. I mean, maybe just because I watch a lot of football, but to me, they're like on the front page.
Really?
Yeah, maybe it's just because
I never thought
don't-
anybody outside of Cleveland gave a shit.
I don't sleep on the Browns. I don't. Just like I am with how the Texans have been playing this year until the injuries. Like, I don't look at a team because of their past, how they're bad. I just look at the team, how they're playing. So, and they've been playing,
Like you have to recognize when you really pay attention, you have to recognize that good defenses are scary. I think they're not as flashy, they're not as fun, but like you can't overlook them. Like they're always going to be dangerous, and it keeps being proven over and over and over again. Every team that goes in and plays better defense, everybody's like, how did they upset that person?
If
It was
the
always the
Cowboys
defense.
if the Cowboys don't make it, I'm rooting for the Browns to win, bro.
Dude,
Another
Myles
thing to
Garrett's great. He's the biggest nerd.
I don't.
He's gonna get. I think he's gonna get Defensive Player of the Year.
I hope so. He's so fucking good.
He's pretty crazy.
Him and Micah Parsons are like boom 1-2 is arguably which one's the best.
Yeah. Max Crosby was doing pretty well too, but then he keeps making penalties that he shouldn't be making. So, but another thing to point out, I don't think it's happened at all this season where my Patriots win a game and the Cowboys lose a game. I don't think it's happened at all. So, and I'm actually not super excited about the Patriots beating Denver. I'm kind of annoyed
fucked up
by
your
it.
draft position, didn't it?
I think we're still at the 2, but for a minute there, the Patriots were working on number 1, which at this point you could take it or leave it.
Well, and
if they win another game, then they might end up down out of top 5, which is not ideal at all. Patriots need a top 5 pick this season, or
Do
next
you
draft.
think
it was
that
last
he's the
week.
guy over Mac Jones? Do you think
Zappy?
that do you think he's
Oh,
a lot
Zappy
better?
over Mac any day. Mac will not be a Patriot next year. I
Do you
assure you.
think do you think Zappy is a great enough quarterback for the future, or do you think
No.
he's just a good
No,
enough guy
no.
for now?
I think Bailey Zappi has shown this season that he's worthy of being a backup. And he's definitely better than Mac Jones. Like Mac Jones will not be a Patriot. He'll be backing up for the Niners next year. I guarantee it.
Yep.
But Zappy has shown that he's definitely worthy of a backup spot. So what I think they're going to do is if the Patriots get 1 or 2, they're probably going to take a quarterback. I think at this point they have to. What I really wish they would do is take Marvin Harrison Jr. and then either trade back into the first round or take a second round quarterback, or they trade or sign a free agent veteran. If you bring in Kirk Cousins,
Kirk's going to the Falcons.
I'm having a stroke. Oh my god,
Bro, I couldn't see Cousins being in a Patriot system.
I think he could. He's a good pocket passer. And if he has someone good to throw to, I think he would do okay. But he would be the bridge. He wouldn't be the long term.
I don't know, man. He lives by that deep ball, and he's succeeded with Justin Jefferson,
dude.
And I don't
Falcons.
You don't have a Justin Jefferson for him to be a stud, bro.
Right, but the Patriots have $170 million of cap space coming up. and there are a lot of big free agents on the market. And if they were to draft Marvin Harrison Jr., that is a game that he's a difference maker. He's a generational talent.
Oh,
I
if
know.
you're
I know
saying
everyone says, "Oh,
Kirk Cousin with him," like if you're putting them together, then I mean,
I think that's a possibility. But
is that with or without Belichick?
It really depends. That's another thing to consider.
Nah, Belichick's coaching the Chargers next year, man.
I can't see Belichick letting Kirk Cousins be a gunslinger like he is.
So
Belichick's
I'm still on board
Justin Herbert's
with as much as I don't think Belichick is the main issue. I still don't think he's gonna be coaching here next season.
He won't.
I think I think the Crafts selling tickets to Gillette for that Chargers game for $8 with fees. I think that's kind of a wake up call, and they're realizing that the fans want something new. And in order for the Patriots to get another draft pick, they're going to have to trade him because some team will trade a first round draft pick for Belichick. I know it sounds ridiculous, but I think they will.
Which is nuts.
It's crazy. It's really crazy because in New England, people are saying, "Oh, kick him to the curb." People, that kind of goes back to the New England getting a stereotype of having entitled fans. People forget that.
Are they just spoiled, bro? They already not win enough.
Again, it's not it's not necessarily spoiled. It's more setting a standard, and the standard's not being upheld, and we're paying a lot of money to these teams. We're making these billionaires.
Depends on your point of view, and
we're making these billionaires super rich, and they're not putting a quality team on the field. The Red Sox, especially, but the Patriots a little bit themselves. But people are forgetting about Belichick. And yes, Brady was a huge part of it, but he coached and he built the greatest dynasty in sports history. The New England Patriots dynasty has a lot to do with Bill Belichick. So people are saying, "Oh, he should be
quote there.
He should be tarred and feathered and embarrassed because of his last 5 seasons."
The greatest.
I disagree. I think it'll be a very amicable parting of ways, but I don't see Belichick coaching here next season. And with that point, as long as he's not here and if they don't take a quarterback, I think they need to take Marvin Harrison Jr. But if they have the first or second round pick, they're taking a quarterback. They're going to take Drake May, or they're going to take Caleb Williams. I personally want to see Jaden Daniels. I like him the most coming in. And there's a possibility they could trade back up to get him if they were to take Marvin Harrison Jr. From there, they need to take offensive linemen but there are some names coming up in free agency. But in terms of receivers, there are some big names: Mike Evans, T. Higgins. There are a bunch of guys coming up in free agency where the Patriots can just throw a bunch of money at them, a bunch of money, because again, $170 million in cap space. So if they were to get if they don't draft a quarterback,
$70 million.
Yeah, I can tell you right now, if the Cowboys don't do what they need to do this year, that's like my number one. I feel like my number one need for next year
is what
is to just go ham on a number 2 wide receiver.
Yeah.
I feel like they were so good.
You guys, I'm going to say it now.
They had so much potential when they had Amari Cooper and an up-and-coming CeeDee Lamb, bro.
I'm going to tell you right now. Listen, hot take. Listen. Cowboys running back next year, Derrick Henry.
We're making predictions now?
I don't think so.
Somebody clip it. Clip it.
You say Ravens?
Yeah, I think he needs to go to the Ravens.
That's my second. That would be that one. But I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna say, you know what, Dallas Cowboys. Jerry Jones is gonna snake his fucking way in there somehow.
Dude, that would be sick. To be honest, I know he's getting older now, but seeing him on the Cowboys, that would be sick, bro.
Wouldn't that kind of be like regretting that they let Zeke go though?
Derrick Henry's better. That's the problem.
Derrick
Henry is better than Zeke, but it was a money thing with Zeke. I don't think it was ever a talent thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Henry's going to want to go to a contender, and Cowboys and Ravens are both contenders. I wouldn't be surprised.
And more importantly, the
going to Cowboys.
The Titans are very good a good relationship with Henry, so
Yeah.
they're going to want to send him to a contending team.
Yes, they've already said that before the deadline.
They tried
were
to
like-
at the deadline, and
they
it just
tried,
didn't come to fruition.
They wanted him to go to a contender, but they couldn't get it to go. So
Do you
they're going to
think
help him. I agree with Ray 100%.
Henry can be a full-on number one still?
Yeah.
Depending
so.
on
Or
the
are
offense,
you
yes.
are you
Staying
saying a
on offense,
backup?
offensive line, there's
It's
a lot
staying
of
healthy is the
to it.
problem, but I think when he's healthy, yeah.
Are you saying he so he would be a backup to Pollard?
Well, even if he was,
Pollard's not going
I don't
anywhere.
think he fits in the.
He would
No,
just
it's a
Dallas
1A,
offense.
1B
role.
kind of thing.
I don't think
it
he
would
fits
not
in
be
the
a
Dallas
backup.
offense.
I think they could run him like they did with Zeke. They can put him in when he needs those extra 2 yards and put him in for end zone, just like they did with Zeke, and then switch him out with Pollard as a pass catcher.
So you're not saying he's better than Pollard. You guys are saying he's better than.
Oh, I think he's better than
Dowdle.
Pollard, but
He's
I
better
think
than Pollard,
he's-
but listen.
I don't think he has the durability anymore to be a number one.
Yeah, I
in
don't
that,
think he has the
in that
durability.
type of offense.
So that's why.
But if you put him in the Ravens offense, for example, or if you put him on the Eagles, for example, where they have a very strong, very mobile quarterback who, again, is essentially a jacked up running back who can pass, he would definitely be a number one.
But how
Because
sick would
because
Big
that's not a
Derrick
true
Henry
number
looking,
one.
like, with a star.
Yeah.
Dude,
Well,
Big Derrick
he's not a
Henry
true
in a
number one
Cowboys
anymore.
uniform, like, whew,
And it's not
he's gonna look good.
it's not a skill issue. It's a durability issue. I don't think he has. I think he's too old to make it through the entire season with getting the reps of a number one in certain types of offenses. But if you have an offense, even the Bills, that's another example. Josh Allen he's essentially a running back.
No, but isn't that the definition of a number one? Is you got the durability? Like
Right, but you're missing my
the
point.
reps?
You're missing my point. A number one in an offense like the Ravens or the Eagles or to an extent the Bills is different than a number one in an offense like the Cowboys.
Right, he's not a true number one. That's what I said.
But if you put him in the right,
Damn it, Brian.
Because
if
it's
you
the
put him in the
quarterback
right
doing
offense,
all
he
the
would be a
running.
number one.
No,
So-
but he wouldn't be. They can't be a number one because they don't have the durability.
He would
So
still
you
be
have
the
to-
number
you
one
have
running
to,
back.
You have to minimize the reps.
But
That's not a
technically,
number one.
I mean,
A number one, you max those fuckers out, and he's your number one runner.
well then yes, in that type of offense, he wouldn't be the number one runner, but by default, he would be the number one running back.
Right.
He
That's
would
what
he
I'm
would
saying.
still
It's
he would still get RB1 reps. He just wouldn't be getting as many as he would be getting in the passer offense.
Yeah, I don't mean. I just don't think that's what I'm saying though. If he wouldn't be the number one guy in an offense,
He's not a number
that
two though.
doesn't have a running quarterback, then he's not a true number one.
But he's also not a number two. Like he's not a backup running back.
Honestly,
He's
we'd
still-
have to see how he
If
fits
he
in a
would be
better
on more
offense.
than half the teams, then he's a backup running back.
Dude, Brian.
But he's not going to go. He's not going to go on Dallas and play second fiddle with a Pollard.
Pollard's
But he's
great,
also
but
He'd
not going to
have to
survive in
be.
that offense.
He'd have to do exactly what Zeke.
Ignores the 101
What,
shit.
that's why Zeke got relegated to number two, because he didn't have the durability. They needed him.
But
to
Derrick
save
Henry's
him
better than
for
Zeke.
Is he?
Yes,
I think so. Yeah, by
very
a lot.
objectively, yes.
Derrick
And
Obviously,
I'm a big Zeke.
Zeke's
fan.
great,
Zeke,
but
Zeke is
RB1
great.
on the Patriots.
Zeke
But
is
he'd
great.
still
Derrick
have to.
Henry is
like a
huge,
step
bro.
on.
Yeah, he's a step above.
He'd still
but-
have to do the number two role because he can't handle the reps.
That's why he wouldn't be on that team.
That's why he would be, in my opinion, splitting carries. And if he's doing more while
We're
splitting
like
carries,
splitting
then-
hairs here, but
Well, it is semantics to an extent, but
I
Yeah,
was
'cause if
making
he-
a hot take that Henry's
we
a
have to
Cowboy
look.
next year.
We have to look at it realistically. And
if he's
and
not a
they're-
number one on most teams in the NFL, then he's not a number one. And if people utilize him as a number one, that's because they have a uniqueness about their quarterback that can be a running back and make up for it. The
no
fact
matter
that
what
they
team he
don't
goes
have
to,
a
he's
number
gonna
one.
be RB1 because he's already RB1 on the Titans. So when they send him
He went
to
to the Ravens, he'd probably split shares.
With
I
who?
don't think so.
with Lamar.
with whoever else. Like,
yeah,
that's
because like Dobbins, he's done,
It's-
but he's
it's-
not going to be there next year.
if he went to a team where he's not, where they got a running quarterback, he's going to be even less than a number one than he is now.
Exactly. That's why he's only going to get the ball, and they're not going to split on the Ravens because the Ravens are splitting and doing different running backs right now because they've had so many injuries and they're trying out different guys. If they already have a guy like Derrick Henry and a running quarterback, then Derrick Henry is going to be the only guy that runs the ball. They're not going to be putting in all these backup guys. They're not going to be doing that.
I think Henry is a perfect offset to Dallas's passing offense, and I think it would fit perfectly. He's enough of a threat that they need to pack that box, but then you also have CeeDee, and you have I don't
know about that.
I don't know about that. My opinion.
Dude, imagine seeing them together, bro. CD and Derrick Henry dapping each other up, bro.
It would be cool. And honestly, Henry of a star and like all with his visor and his sleeve, dude, he would look pretty sick.
like Derrick Henry. I just don't
He'd
think
look pretty sick in a Cowboys.
I think if he came to Dallas, he'd end up being the same thing we had with Zeke. Where he's
there's only one way to try.
He only
look around and find out.
I don't know. I just don't think he'd take over. I don't know if he'd take over the.
Dude, Pollard's not the guy. Like he's
better than Tony Pollard
this year.
He's better than Tony Pollard. So what would happen is he would get put in. He would get put into the RB1 slot. But in that offense, he doesn't have the durability. He'll get injured, and he won't be able to maintain the reps. So then Pollard got put back in anyway. But like Brian said in the chat, if he went to the Ravens, you have the 1-2 punch of Lamar. He would still get the RB1 reps, but he would take less RB1 reps in general because Lamar is so mobile.
I feel like Pollard's a great RB2. I feel like he's good at what he's good at. When you use him as an every down running back, he's all right, and maybe he's better. We just haven't seen him get as much use because we've been passing a lot more in this style offense. But when we watched him last year with Zeke, we're all like, oh, he's so good playing. But I think they were just playing to his strengths and then putting in Zeke when he gets to play to his strengths. So I feel like we should keep Pollard, but make him like a solidified RB2 and just use him when we can.
Listen, Pollard is an RB2. I agree with Janu. But let me just bring something up real quick. It brought me up. Just like Josh Dobbs is also a number 2, whom I've called that was a number 2.
The Dominator?
Who argued with me about that? Who was it?
All right, let me say something real quick about the Dominator. What happened when he went on to the offense and didn't know any plays at all? He went fucking
I'm not saying there wasn't a flash in the pan.
He will be back.
I'm not saying there was not a flash in the pan.
He will be back.
So far
He's
from
not.
what
He
we've
is a
seen
backup
from the Dominator. I think
he'll be back.
Too far into it too fast because
it's not over. It's not over until it's joved.
Like I was telling him, when he was throwing to Hawkinson, when he was making the passes that he felt comfortable with and running the ball,
he is this generation's Ryan Fitzpatrick, and that is it.
I don't think so. I think he needs to play an offense that fits his style.
Nope. He is always the bridesmaid and never the
how many styles does he have to try out before he figures out?
He is always the bridesmaid and never the bride.
They're running the offense.
He will be back.
The Vikings, the way they run the offense, they're used to it with Kirk Cousins. He's not
going
to fit in that. He's not going to fit in
the
that.
Vikings
style.
love Kirk Cousins.
Josh Dobbs is a second-string quarterback. He will not be a starter. He is
not the last we've seen of the Pastronaut.
When they let the Dominator start dobbing people, that's when they're going to win. But until then, you can't contain the Dominator.
No, dude, you guys are so fucking wrong. There's no way.
I mean, you think the Browns are going to the Super Bowl, so I mean,
dude, what are they on their 5th-string quarterback now?
I don't know.
Flacco is a savior.
Yeah, you're a Flacco mania.
I hope we revisit this exact discussion next week when Flacco throws like 3 interceptions and gets smoked. I want to have this conversation again.
All right, because listen to our parlay, and I'm going to tell you why I picked.
Oh, shit.
Bring over the offensive coordinator from anywhere else. Fire the one that's at the Vikings, and then Dominator is going to be going crazy.
It's not the last we've seen of the Pastronaut. I'm telling you, he will be back.
He's gonna come back next year on some team as a backup, and then we're gonna see.
Do you guys remember the hype of Matt Flynn when he backed up for the Packers, and they sent him to the Seahawks thinking he was a savior? And then they drafted Russell Wilson, and he never even started.
Dobbs to the Ravens. Calling it now.
Oh my God.
Josh Dobbs to the Ravens.
Wait,
No,
who has
off Lamar?
who has more interceptions, Dominator or Josh Allen?
Josh Allen.
It's Josh Allen, yeah.
But all right, it's the thing. The Dominator on the Bills, and they win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, dude. Call it for what it is.
That's a hot take.
Dobbs to
That's a hot
Diggs,
take.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the corpse of Stephon Diggs.
Dude, the Bills are a joke.
Josh
The
Allen
Bills,
put him on the Vikings.
unfortunately, are there. Oh man,
Josh Dobbs is gonna go where all quarterbacks go to die, to the Atlanta
I'm
Falcons.
sorry, Seven. I had to, bro. I couldn't.
Or
help
the
it.
Indianapolis Colts. That's another one. So,
no. The Colts are gonna ride out Minshew till Richardson is
Minshew
back
mania.
next year, and he is gonna be the MVP next year.
All right.
Well, when your team's is in trouble, you're gonna be wishing the Dominator was your backup. You know what I'm saying?
I got Will Levis
Damn, I don't have
with those
Dobbs.
guns.
What do you want?
The
See
Pythons.
his arms. Woo!
The Pythons. Yep.
All right, are we talking our parlay? Are we talking pick'ems? What are we doing? I've lost track of.
I think we gotta talk fantasy really fast, and then look at a parlay real
Fantasy?
fast.
I'm irrelevant, so I'm gonna use the restroom. I'll be right back.
I'm irrelevant.
I know.
I got
know
like
Eric
10th
was in the
place,
chat
dude.
earlier in the.
I got
earlier
no.
in the stream.
Listen, I got 10th place, so I got a top pick for me, and I got Q's first round pick. So
I got
Ooh.
smoked by. Oh my god.
Yeah, I guess
That
I'm
was-
glad that I lost.
That's
so I
Amari
get a
Cooper
better
for you.
draft pick. But my team.
You didn't have to lose so bad, did you?
You know,
Yeah,
it would have
guys-
been great if you had beaten me last
taking
week.
a
If you had
break.
put up that score last week, I'd be getting a better draft pick, and I wouldn't have gotten pants by Brian.
Third highest scoring team in the league, and I had to fight to get to 7-7. Man,
You
my
just had to suck a
schedule
little less
sucked.
last week. If you had put up these points last week, you would have beaten me, and I would have gotten a better draft pick and avoided getting absolutely 100 points. 100
I
points.
could have had the toilet bowl money.
Yeah, you could have. Yeah, it's a good point. Just kicking a dead horse over here.
Would have been nice if my team
I was
didn't
trying to
score
lose.
back to back.
I was trying to lose. I didn't. Clearly, I didn't have to try that hard. Christ. I think that's the highest score all season.
That might be 233-20.
That comment is so funny with his profile picture icon just being him literally licking the.
Yeah, you have to change that now. You're not the champ anymore.
yeah,
Like he's literally every time he comments, he's like, "I love fantasy. I love fantasy."
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, man. Oh, Arrow Dart scored 240 at one point in the season, so
Can we also point
Yeah.
out the fact that he still has the profile that Aerodark still has the profile from being the lowest scorer last season 1 week,
oh
He said he
yeah.
was gonna keep
and
it.
he
I was
won
the
the whole
one-
thing this year. He won the
No.
whole thing.
Did I rename him that?
Somebody did.
I don't remember, but yeah, he said it, he decided. I think it was me.
And he
I
went
think
with
it
it.
was, yeah,
And he
'cause
won
he
the
had
whole
Cooper
thing this
Kupp.
year. We
Yep,
we
and
all
he's-
we all lost to a friggin' banana hammock over here.
And he was I think he was the well, we're about to find out. Here's how it all shook out. Cup holder was he was the highest scoring points leader also. So at least there's that. Cause don't you hate it though when like one of the mid teams wins the championship, and you look at their points against, and it's the lowest of the league, and you're like, oh, that's how he did it, you know? But he did. He scored the most points of the league. I mean, and he won. That's pretty damn fair, if you ask me.
Yep.
You
Hey,
know?
Arrow Dark, like hats off to you, dude. Like yeah,
Dominated all season long.
dominated, and it's not Brian. So who in the fuck?
There was some bias there. Ouch.
And Brian and I can't talk shit to each other because once again we split the series 1-1.
So I'm looking at us. So let's look at our picks for next season.
We respectfully disrespect each other.
I also want to point out I came in third place in our division, and I had a winning record in my division. Like it was my non-conference game or my outside of division games that kicked my freaking ass all season.
And I didn't do well in my division. That's what ultimately.
Did Q shame himself because he changed his profile picture and his name?
That was from the week before last, and he never, or the last time he was lowest scored, he never changed it back.
I was gonna say he just is still.
And that's a repeat name, by the way, because the one time I ever got lowest points, that was what they renamed me, and they gave and somebody gave me Ricky Bobby as a profile picture. So get some original content.
Yeah, it's I got some bad luck this year. It's okay. It's okay.
Okay. I'm about to I might win in my other league, so like this season it's not been a total failure. You know?
For you.
For me. For this league, I'm hopeful. Next year's going to be a big deal. I'm going to have Marvin Harrison Jr. on my team next year. So like
oh yeah, you get first overall pick.
You're gonna go wide receiver first overall,
dude. Listen, I'm not on the Caleb Williams train. I think he's gonna be this over entitled, fucking high maintenance dude who's not gonna perform to his standard. Drake May is my boy next season.
Yeah, but okay, so fantasy aside, because QBs don't mean shit in fantasy for the most part as far as number one picks. It's usually running backs with the occasional wide receiver. Last year was Bijan Robinson,
who I have.
So you're not like, who's the running back? Is there a college running back that's coming next year that's supposed to be the fantasy football number one?
As far I don't know of any. Ray might or Janu might know, but as far as I know, it's a very quarterback heavy draft next year.
And tight end heavy. Yeah. There's a couple really good tight ends coming in next season.
Tight ends? I usually wait till after the Super Bowl to get into that kind of stuff. But
dude, I'd love to get a report as you guys get into it. I never do either, so pardon my ignorance here, but I feel like fantasy football wise, it's always
relevant.
Who's the next relevant running back?
Yeah.
Wide receivers you worry about later. Quarterbacks you definitely worry about later.
We should do a draft, like a mock draft
episode.
Yeah.
But
that'd be sweet.
So something to keep in mind, you guys really should probably start looking into it because I'm not gonna give you advice, but we're in a keeper league where we get to keep a lot of players. And so there's not going to be a whole lot of current players to be worth drafting, to be completely fair. So it's going rookie drafting really makes or breaks it.
It could.
So
I mean, if you look at the standings, which we just did, Genuviel has been a very up and coming type player in the league. He had 103 moves throughout the season. The next closest one was 43.
Yep.
it's been all his entire team all season long has been about like the younger up and coming player because
me and Janu are on a very dude, we're very similar mindsets when it comes to the kid.
Yeah, I think so.
I have to pay closer
Q.
attention
Q-Swin
He
was
was in left fucking field. He is
to rookies.
He is playing checkers while we're playing chess.
He had the next highest moves, and he finished in last.
I will say,
God love you, but damn, he just
sometimes he picked
football.
the right players actually, but he got the chicken of the stick. I forgot to tell you guys about this, but when I first had Kyron Williams drop off my team, I thought that I was smart because everyone thought this one guy was going to be the starting running back, and then right at the last second they changed it. I think the guy's name was Zach Evans, and Q had the highest priority, because he's in last, and he actually picked him. But last second, after they changed it, they switched it to a different guy, and I picked him up, and he got 0 points for Q. And I was
That
like, wow.
That happened with the Cardinals as well. It happened with Arizona, where
He was right
they switched their running backs last minute, and luckily I had picked the one that they switched to in my other league.
Listen, okay, can we do something real quick? It just maybe take 5 minutes. If you guys don't mind. Can we look at Q's? Can we look at Q's roster and let's just see what he's looking at for next year?
Why?
Can we look at rosters?
As being the last place team and saying, just curious what our
He's got
opinions
some good
are.
keepers.
No, I can take a screenshot of it or something, put it in Discord tomorrow or whatever. But if you remind me,
that's fair.
So while we're on the topic of keepers, and the fact that he has his first round pick, he has Q's first round pick. Aren't round picks based on player rankings? So if he has so how does that work with his keepers? Because if he keeps players from the first round, if Q keeps players from the first round, wouldn't he not get a first round pick?
Doesn't matter about. Yeah, I don't know. It's Dab's pick now. The season's over. It's Dab's pick now.
So it'd be if I had to.
If he had two first rounders,
talents,
it would slide into that. But if he has 0 first rounders, he'll get 2 picks in the first round. So does.
If I have 2
theoretically,
keepers,
right now he has the
first
2 picks in the draft.
Okay.
Yeah, I have picked 1 and.
So it has to do with Dabs' keepers then.
My keepers, not Q.
Yeah, I have a lot of people that I'm thinking about keeping.
I have a lot of young most players, of my team, honestly.
That's a good question, though, Ray, because I didn't know the answer to that. So.
Honestly, it's sad to say, but I think I'm not keeping Pollard this year. He's my only.
I only have a handful of players out. I think we'll even end up in the first round.
Go ahead and drop him because I'll probably grab him.
I have Garrett Wilson. I have Jamar Chase.
My team sucks. I'm just
I think those are my only 2 first rounders that will end up.
Team.
Dude,
and
I got
Jamar might drop out because he might drop down in the second round because he was injured so much, so he might not end up on the top of the rankings.
Yeah. As for me, there's too many people I'm deciding between, and Pollard just hasn't put up the numbers, and I just don't think I want to keep him this year. But
so
I need a Cowboy.
Isn't it 3? It's 3 keepers, and then we can pay for more, right? Or is it 5 keepers and we pay for more?
Your buy-in determines
it's pay to win.
Keeper,
3 for the 50. Yeah,
it's not pay to win though because. Well,
in a way, though, it kind of is.
If you don't have the money, you got to lose your other 3 best players.
But then that's pay to win. You pay more to keep your players.
Exactly.
So it's
the guy that paid the most got 3rd.
That's pay to win.
Pay to win. He got 3rd place. It is sort of a pay to win schedule, but different conversation, different time.
Yeah,
that's interesting though. We should talk about that.
I mean, I have more than 3 players I want to keep, so.
Yeah, and
I do too, but I don't want to have to. We'll talk about it later. Off stream. I'm not like upset in any way. I'm just, it's not going to alter my opinion of the league or the commissioner.
Yeah, because when we're in our league now,
an
we
asshole.
have like a lot of people that everyone's going to want to keep now that our teams have developed a little bit more.
Yeah,
So maybe we should just up the
it
keepers.
should be.
For
I
less.
feel like it should be a dynasty league where you keep your entire team and you draft a squad of rookies that you could import into your team, but then you have to release.
See, I've never played in one like that, and that sounds really interesting.
That sounds really complicated.
It's not as complicated as you think. I run one like that. It's not as hard as you think.
But I'm curious if Yahoo or whatever. I mean, like we've been in a Yahoo league or whatever.
Sleeper is the best and easiest way to do it. But
yeah,
again,
I like Sleeper.
This is an off-stream conversation.
We're not sponsored by any of these fantasy football services, by the way. Obviously. To the whole 12 people that are watching.
How many new players do you draft, though? Do you draft the full slate of new players?
It depends on the size of it's called a taxi squad, which in like professional terms is your practice squad. So what you do is you literally, so our first year. So for example, if we were to start a dynasty league, I would recommend a complete redraft.
Oh God, here we go again.
Okay, and listen, but this is your team. After the end of next season, you keep your team.
Mm-hmm.
And as the real NFL does the way I do it is like the week after the actual NFL draft, you would draft your rookie class, which would be your taxi squad or your practice squad. So you draft only out of the rookies, okay? Depending on, and it's up to the commissioner of how many spots you have. So it could be like 6 spots, 7 spots, 5 spots for your taxi squad. That's how many rounds you would have in the draft. You fill up your taxi squad, start the season, and as the season progresses, you could move guys up to your roster or keep them on your squad. They can stay on, like in my league, you can stay on your practice squad, taxi squad for 2 years. So, for example, I drafted Kenny Pickett. He's still on my taxi squad. He doesn't take up a roster spot.
Not going to be for long.
Yeah, right. He's not a roster spot, but he's on my team. I can kind of stash him away until I can call him up. But the rule is, once they're off of that taxi squad, they can't go back on.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
So what if you just straight up drop him? Can somebody else put him up on their taxi squad?
As long as it's a rookie, yeah. If it's a rookie, they can go on your taxi squad.
Oh, that's interesting.
First year. As long as they're in that 2-year window from when they started, yeah, they can be on your squad. You can't draft like fucking Adam Thielen and put him on your taxi squad.
No. I got you. No, I totally. Yeah.
But if you had I don't know, who was a rookie last year?
I put Bo Jackson on my taxi squad, bro.
Well, if they're
I'm putting Aaron Hernandez on my taxi squad.
Yeah. But it makes a whole different, you're running a team. It's cool that you have to manage when you want the rookie or to go up, and that it causes you to drop another guy.
Firestorm with the hot take. The first superstar he thinks of as a murderer.
It's a fun way, but that's something that we would have to vote on and discuss. It's just
no matter what. I just wish at the end of this year we can all agree on having more people that we can keep, no matter what we do, and also being able to play on a different platform would be nice. I like Sleeper. I've looked at it before and used it, and it takes a little bit to get used to changing, but as far as the layout goes, it looks really nice, and you can kind of find people trending more. Just like
you like it too, Ray?
Sleeper is phenomenal. My other 2 leagues are on Sleeper, and
I've never even heard of it.
I don't mind Yahoo, but I prefer Sleeper.
Yahoo's
the
great.
Feedback
Sleeper
I'd love on.
I told you about it.
And Sleeper has a sports book too. That's the other thing.
Yeah, Sleeper's great.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I told you about it when we started this season.
What you telling me in the garage? doesn't
They're all
count.
better than ESPN. they're all better than ESPN, and they're all better than NFL.com. Like NFL.com on mobile doesn't even have a dark mode, which is just it's the year of our. We're 5 days away from 2024. If you don't have dark mode on your website, you need to just change, do something.
Just
But-
Yahoo's great, but their layout is just ass on PC. Like it's completely. Oh my god, it's so
And
bad.
it's and Sleeper is. I think it's easier to navigate like player stats and things like that.
It is, yeah. Especially if you want to run like dynasty or like long-term leagues, Sleeper is the way to go. They're built for that kind of league.
Very, very interactive, very user friendly.
Yeah, you can trade draft picks 3 years out. Like they don't,
I like this.
We're making some changes.
Yeah. We
So
should
we
consider
are-
a total revamp.
We are up against it. We gotta
Great.
keep going.
That way
here.
Brian doesn't get fucking crippled.
Okay. So prime
Well,
time.
I gotta
parlay?
go to bed.
Yeah. Oh shit! It's 11.
Oh,
Prime time parlay.
Prime time
I have to be
parlay,
at
I got
work in
mine.
7 hours.
Oh
No one likes a
started
bragger,
both
Ryan. Or Ryan. Ray.
That's a brag, that's for sure.
Brian
I-
catching
Jesus.
strays.
I'm just messing with you.
Kitchen strays. Okay.
Yeah,
Well-
F you, Brian.
Look, we can talk about it all we
fuck you,
want.
Brian.
I mean, we lost again,
We
and
did.
it wasn't my fault or CD Lamb's fault. I just want to point that out.
There's
I
my
hit
fault.
twice.
We lost before,
I
CeeDee Lamb.
hit twice.
It was
bro.
Jalen Warren is my fault.
That is 2 weeks in a row I picked CD Lamb and we didn't lose.
Nicole's fault. Where's she been? Where's Lobster been? What the fuck?
She's listening.
Well, she's not commenting.
That's Thursday nights.
Anyways.
Yeah, so Janu hit twice. He was locked in. I screwed up and forgot to place his Thursday night pick.
Oh yeah,
the
that's
holidays
right.
were so weird. Like, don't worry about it.
Again, it was crazy. So he hits up the Discord and he's like, "Oh, what was it, Kyron? Did you pick Kyron?"
Yeah.
He's like, "Kyron hits." I'm like, "No, the fuck it doesn't," because I forgot. So he switched to Jake Browning over on the passing yards, which excellent pick because that's gonna hit. I think that's gonna hit most of the time. And then the Jalen Warren anytime touchdown, unfortunately missed. My pick was Alexander Madison anytime touchdown. I had an inclination and obviously was wrong. I'm gonna quit doing that. That missed. And then CD Lamb anytime touchdown because Wakko loves picking that and it seems to keep hitting. So it
So
wasn't the case
was
earlier
that
in the season.
Is that a rare dabs miss?
A rare dabs miss. I'm usually
Dabs has been
spot
pretty
on.
consistent.
Yeah. So I'm calling it like I see it.
Oh, look,
Rare.
it's Lobster. What
Rare.
the fuck's up, girl?
I haven't been keeping track. The only keeping track I've been doing is all the money I lose, but we are still in the green somehow. 300
It's
plus
that
winnings on the
first-
season.
Yeah.
30, 40, 100 something wagered. We
should have an episode where we just invite the chat to give us a recommendation and we discuss it. Just like the first four that we all four agree on, we lock it in.
Dude, I'm game.
I'm totally game.
Uh-oh. That could be a show.
Well,
That could
we'll do a normal pick this week,
I got a fire
then-
one though.
and then
This
next
week?
this
You mean
week we'll
this
do
week?
our normal slate this week. Hopefully
you
we'll
gotta-
hit.
You got to put it in this time because it's a Thursday game.
And it's going in tomorrow on my way to work. I dip up
Alright.
into
I got
Massachusetts.
mine. I got mine ready. It's easy.
So, all right, Janu, why don't you kick us off?
I'm taking your boy Joe Flacco over passing yards against the Jets. He's
We'll see.
went off the past 2 weeks with almost getting 400 passing yards in the past 2 weeks each, and the offense is cooking. I think it's pretty good.
I like it. Dabs, what you
Gives the
got
Jets.
Dude, I got the Browns over
What's
the
the-
Jets. Like, boom. They're
on the
winning.
money line?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Don't take CeeDee Lamb TD.
That's exactly what I'm taking for a third week in a row.
Do it.
I mean,
You
It's
don't
tradition at
bet
this
out
point.
of a heater.
Yeah.
all right. CeeDee Lamb anytime touchdown. I am going to take Baker
Wait, sorry.
Mayfield.
Yeah, after.
I'm going to take Baker Mayfield over on the passing yards. I'm bought into Baker Mania.
What's
They're
the
playing
over?
the Saints. The Saints are trending very downward.
What's the over?
It's not posted yet because they're the
Oh,
Sunday game.
Okay. Yeah.
So, but
But
we'll,
neither is Janews, right?
no. Janews
the
is
over.
Thursday. It's over. The Joe Flacco over is 230 yards, 230 and a half.
Dude,
taking
that's
over
easy.
230?
Yeah.
That's so
yeah.
easy.
On the Jets
I like
defense?
it. I like
though?
Yes,
it. I
on the
just
Jets
wanted to
defense.
know
They're
what
at
it
home.
was.
Oh yeah.
They're at home. The Jets are
Cleveland's-
trending downward still.
Cleveland's
Bro,
at
if
home?
it,
Cleveland's at home,
Okay.
and it's plus 7.5. So
I would
or it's
take it.
negative
Yeah,
7.
that's just.
Yeah, I'm
that's
taking
like,
it.
You know,
I like
It
it.
would-
if the
Yeah.
line was 280 on Flacco, you still take it?
no.
I would still take it, but not for this bet. I would make it on my own bet. But like, bro,
Yeah.
it's the last like 4 weeks in a row he's got over 230.
That's why it's set there,
I like it, but
which unfortunately
And that's since he started too.
has been our downfall.
The only way he doesn't get that is if he pulls a Tua on us. So
it's the Browns though. If there was a week he wasn't gonna do it, it's this week.
I don't think so, dude.
I don't think so.
He's not a rookie quarterback. He's seasoned. He's played against good defenses before. He's got a
And he
great
used to
offensive
own-
throw too.
Yeah, he used to own Cleveland.
And
He
the
did.
Jets are already out of contention.
God.
The offense is going to be playing like ass against the defense. The Browns' offense is going to be out there just over and over and over again that game.
Dabs, what was yours?
Just Browns money line. I almost took David Njoku again because he's just been a stud. You got to remember Flacco and Mark Andrews was the start of that whole thing. So Flacco loves his tight ends, and Njoku is a baller anyways. So just keep that in mind.
All right, so our primetime parlay for this week. God bless us. $10, 4 legs to hopefully win a bunch of money. We have Joe Flacco over 230.5 on passing. We have Baker Mayfield over on passing. Not sure what the line is yet. We have CeeDee Lamb anytime touchdown. And we have Browns over the Jets on the money line. So stay tuned. Keep an eye out in the Discord. And once again, we do not we are not responsible for any money you lose. So don't bet
This
any
is
money
not
you can't afford
gambling
to lose.
advice.
You probably shouldn't listen to us just because we won a couple times. We keep losing, so
And never wager money you cannot afford to lose, especially if you're going to listen to us.
Except me. Listen to me. I won't lead you astray. Listen, send me $5. I'll send you good advice.
That's not endorsed by this podcast.
I'll be honest though, I really like this week. I think we're taking conservative picks.
Dabs
Yeah.
has had pretty good picks, though. Up until
My
last week.
fantasy year has been awful.
Yeah.
Our sports radars are all over the place. This is a bad season, though, for it, man. So much weird shit this season. The injuries and... I mean, yeah, we haven't... Lobster, hush.
It's been a fun year. It's been
Look,
a
she
fun
comes in
year.
to
A fast
Just
year.
rip
too.
us. Just rip us.
One more than you did.
Lobster
Yeah.
needs to join. Listen, Lobster, we need, what do we have, a 12-team league right now?
Yeah.
We need to open it. We need to open a 16-team league.
God, help,
Dude,
please no.
at
Please
least
God no.
14. I wouldn't do 16, but
16
like
is horrible. It's awful.
No.
If we
14.
redrafted,
16 team
if we
league.
move,
No.
if we move
boy.
and
I'm out.
I think
redraft,
it'd be fun.
I'm out.
Dude, it's got to be hard. Like, you know,
It's so bad.
Well,
I did
like
I did a
was saying-
16 man last season, and we were like,
You're
with all,
scraping
especially
the
with all the
barrel.
injuries, like you end up having to waiver people halfway through the season that are like projected 0.3 points.
That's what
Like,
makes it
it's-
harder for us. We need to. We
It's
already know
heinous.
all the guys. We have to
It's
get
so
the
hard.
guys behind the guys.
I'm out.
in there.
I'm good.
But
I'm all set.
remember, I was saying,
I'm gonna say first of all that would be extremely good for our podcast for me, because it would make me try hard. And
Instead of
yeah.
instead of a 16-man league, you do 2 8-man leagues. A league, B league, and then the top 4 of B league take replace the bottom 4 of A league.
that'd be
And the
fun.
bottom 4 of A league take the top of B league the
Yeah,
next
because I
season.
was saying that we're going to be doing just a regular draft league, so we can just decide what we want it to be like. And obviously, you guys are probably going to be in there. Brian's going to be in there. My mom's probably going to be in there. I got some friends coming in, so we
Yeah,
could
yeah.
have a lot of people in there if
Yeah,
we have a
usually.
lot of the same people from our league.
Exactly. Like, side note, for real, we need to have a conversation.
Okay.
I'm ready to start.
No,
working
like,
on-
seriously, off stream.
All right.
Oh, 24-man league. You're out of your mind.
24
Imagine-
man.
Imagine
Oh,
just
shit.
Q getting
impossible.
demoted down to the B league and he can't play anymore, and he's just stuck there until he finally gets better. You're going back to the B league.
Oh!
Hey, who got first place in
Oh.
our league? Me. Who just beat you in the playoffs? Me with like a 250-point win. Yeah. So yeah. She was like, oh my god! Every single week I would 200 points, 160, 170, and then as soon as I go against her, 80 points. I go against her again, 60 points. My whole team's injured, but then playoffs come around, and I pulled out.
Hey, but that's my extra point. That's how fantasy go. All right, go.
Yep.
Let's wrap it up, boys. What's your extra point now?
I feel
Browns
bad for
Super
her
Bowl.
because she was like, "Do I get another chance?" And I was like, "I'm sorry, this is the playoffs. This is football."
Cleveland Browns Super Bowl. What's the number? 58. What's the number?
What Super Bowl is it this year?
What is it? Super Bowl 58.
I don't know.
I can't.
Anyways.
I got it. Hold on.
Cleveland
You know
Browns.
what?
Cleveland Browns. Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl.
Is that a
Super Bowl
prediction?
24
Is that
will
locked
be
in?
That's locked in. Dallas Cowboys. Cleveland Browns.
58.
Somebody clip it.
I can get with that.
Out of your mind. Deranged.
Browns or Ravens taking
What are you
it,
saying now?
and Cowboys or Lions probably taking it. That's my prediction.
Well,
Uh,
I don't know. I don't know about that one, but
I think the Niners are going to fall apart, and we already beat the Eagles. I think.
Yep,
don't
I
know.
agree.
that's too
Purdy
many
is
points.
the guy, but he is not the guy
Ray,
this year.
get us out of here.
that's all I got.
Awkward
What's all you
wave.
got?